Before we dive into today's topic, I want to tell you about something that's changed how I approach pigeon health and performance. I run another channel called Pigeon Healthy where I share natural herbal treatment methods that most fanciers have never heard of. We're talking about plants and natural remedies that have powerful healing and performance-enhancing effects on pigeons. Things like specific herb combinations that boost immunity, natural treatments for respiratory diseases, plants that improve digestion and recovery after races, and natural alternatives to chemical medications. We cover pigeon diseases you might be struggling with right now: canker, respiratory infections, coccidiosis, worms, and show you exactly how to treat them using natural methods that actually work. No guessing. No expensive medications with side effects. Just proven herbal protocols used by top European lofts. If you're serious about keeping your birds healthy naturally and improving their performance without chemicals, go subscribe to Pigeon Healthy right now. The knowledge there could save you birds, save you money, and give you an edge your competition doesn't have. Now let's get into today's topic. You walk into the feed store. The same store you've bought from for years. You ask for racing pigeon mix. The clerk pulls a bag from the shelf. 25 kilograms 50 pounds good quality mix from reputable supplier. The label lists all the ingredients. Safflower, sunflower, peas, wheat, barley, corn, hemp, dairy. Everything a racing pigeon needs. The bag looks clean. The price is reasonable. You buy it, load it in your car, drive home. You open the bag, pour feed into your storage bin, provide it to your birds. They eat it readily. Everything seems fine. But you just poisoned your birds. Not dramatically. Not acutely. Slowly. Over the next 6 months while you feed from this bag, you're giving your birds feed that's degrading daily. Oils in the seeds are oxidizing. Vitamins are breaking down. Beneficial compounds are turning into harmful compounds. Your birds are eating what looks like good feed but is actually becoming toxic feed. Their livers are struggling to process oxidized oils. Free radicals are damaging cells throughout their bodies. Performance is declining but you don't notice because it's gradual. Health is deteriorating but you don't see it until birds start dying mysteriously months later. This scenario plays out in 90% of American lofts. Maybe more. Fanciers buy large quantities of feed for economy and convenience. They store it for months. They feed it until the bag is empty regardless of how old the feed has become. They think they're providing good nutrition. They're actually creating chronic toxicity that impairs performance and shortens birds' lives. Today I'm showing you exactly why this happens, how to recognize toxic feed, and the correct feeding practices that European champions use to keep their birds healthy. Let me start with the science of what happens when feed goes bad. All seeds contain oils. These oils are essential nutrients providing energy, fat-soluble vitamins, and building blocks for cell membranes. Fresh oils are beneficial. Old oils are toxic. The transition from fresh to toxic happens through a process called oxidation. Oxidation occurs when oils are exposed to oxygen, light, and heat. The unsaturated fatty acids in oils react with oxygen molecules creating compounds called free radicals and peroxides. These compounds are highly reactive and damaging to biological tissues. In fresh seeds stored properly, oxidation is minimal. The seed coat protects the oils. Cool, dark storage slows oxidation. But once seeds are exposed to air during processing, packaged in bags that allow some air penetration, stored at room temperature and exposed to light, oxidation accelerates. Within 4 weeks of processing, significant oxidation has occurred in high-oil seeds like sunflower, safflower, and hemp. Within 8 weeks, the oxidation is severe. Within 12 weeks, the feed is rancid even if you can't smell it yet. Here's what happens when birds eat oxidized oils. The oils are absorbed from the digestive system into the bloodstream. The liver, which processes all absorbed nutrients, encounters these oxidized compounds. The liver's job is detoxification. It breaks down harmful substances using specialized enzymes. But when birds are eating oxidized oils daily, the liver becomes overwhelmed. Chronic exposure to oxidized fats causes inflammation in liver tissue. Liver cells become damaged. Over time, this leads to fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, and liver failure. The liver can't perform its normal functions. Toxins accumulate. The bird gets sick. But liver damage isn't the only problem. Oxidized oils generate free radicals throughout the body. Free radicals are molecules with unpaired electrons that steal electrons from other molecules, damaging them. This creates a chain reaction of cellular damage affecting cell membranes, DNA, proteins, everything. The body has antioxidant systems that neutralize free radicals, but chronic exposure from rancid feed overwhelms these defenses. The result is systemic oxidative stress that accelerates aging, impairs immune function, damages muscle tissue, and reduces performance. The cruel part is this happens gradually. You don't see acute poisoning. You see slow decline that's easy to attribute to other causes. Bird performance decreases slightly, but you think maybe it's training or weather. Bird looks slightly dull, but you think maybe it's molting or stress. Bird develops minor health issues, but you treat symptoms without addressing the underlying cause, which is toxic feed. Over months or years, you lose birds to what seems like random health failures. You never connect it to feed quality because the feed looks fine and birds eat it willingly. Let me tell you about Mark, club member who lost 8 birds over 18 months. Each bird different symptoms. One died suddenly, apparent heart attack. One developed liver disease, confirmed by vet. One became progressively weaker until euthanized. One developed cancer. Others just slowly declined and died. Mark spent thousands on vet bills. Tried different supplements. Changed breeding stock thinking genetics were bad. Nothing worked. Birds kept dying. I visited his loft to help troubleshoot. Everything looked good. Clean loft, proper management, healthy training protocol. Then I asked to see his feed. He showed me his storage. Large plastic bin filled with racing mix. I asked when he bought this batch. He checked his receipt. 6 months ago. He bought 100-pound bag of mix, 50 kilograms, poured it all into storage bin, been feeding from it for 6 months. I opened the bin and smelled the feed. Musty odor. Slight rancid smell. I grabbed a handful of sunflower seeds, crushed them, smelled the oil. Definitely rancid. The feed was toxic. I explained this might be the cause of his bird deaths. He was skeptical. The feed looked fine. Birds ate it. How could it be toxic? I told him to do an experiment. Buy fresh small batch of feed, use only that for next month, see if bird health improves. He agreed. 1 month later he called me. No deaths. Birds looking better than they had in year. Feathers brighter. Energy higher. One of the chronically ill birds actually recovered. The difference was dramatic and immediate. Fresh feed transformed his loft health. Mark asked why this wasn't common knowledge. Why don't feed stores warn about this? Why don't feed bags have expiration dates? I explained it's partly economics, partly culture. Large bags are cheaper per kilogram. Stores stock them because customers want value. Customers buy them because they think they're saving money. Feed sits in warehouses and stores for months before purchase. Then sits in lofts for more months during use. By the time feed is actually consumed, it's often 4 to 8 months old. This is normal in American pigeon culture. It's toxic, but it's normal. European culture is completely different. I've visited Belgian lofts. I've interviewed championship fanciers about their feeding practices. None of them buy large bags or store feed for months. They buy weekly or every 2 weeks. Small quantities. 5 to 10 kilograms maximum. They use it within 2 to 3 weeks. Then they buy fresh batch. The feed is never old enough to develop significant oxidation. This isn't because they're wealthy and don't care about cost. It's because they understand feed quality degrades and fresh feed is worth the extra effort. Joss Thone explained it to me directly. He buys feed every week from local supplier. Picks it up personally. Uses it within 7 to 10 days maximum. Never stores large quantities. Asked why. He said, would you eat bread that's 6 months old? Would you drink milk that's been open for a month? Feed is food. Food goes bad. Fresh food keeps birds healthy. Old food makes birds sick. This is basic, but American fanciers don't think about it. They treat feed like it's shelf stable indefinitely. It's not. Let me give you the specific signs that feed has gone bad and is toxic. Sign 1: musty or off odor. Fresh feed should smell clean and slightly sweet, like fresh grain. If feed smells musty, stale, or has any hint of chemical or paint-like odor, it's oxidized. The smell indicates volatile compounds created during oxidation. This is your primary indicator. Trust your nose. If it doesn't smell right, it's not right. Sign 2: dull or faded seed colors. Fresh safflower is bright white. Fresh sunflower has vibrant brown outer shell. Fresh hemp is greenish gray. When these seeds fade to dull gray or brown, it indicates vitamin degradation and oxidation. The pigments in seeds are antioxidants. When they fade, it means oxidation has consumed them. The feed is past its prime. Sign 3: dry brittle texture in oil-rich seeds. Fresh hemp seed has slight oil feel. Fresh sunflower has some moisture. When these seeds feel completely dry and brittle, breaking easily when pressed, the oils have degraded. Oxidized oils lose their liquid properties and become waxy or completely dried out. This is advanced oxidation. The feed is rancid even if smell isn't obvious yet. Sign 4, visible mold or insect activity. This indicates moisture contamination and usually accompanies oxidation because both are storage failures. Any feed with mold must be discarded completely. Fungal toxins are dangerous. Any feed with insects, weevils, moths must be discarded. Insects carry disease and their waste contaminates feed. Sign 5, birds eating less or selectively eating certain seeds while avoiding others. Birds have good instincts about food quality. If they're eating peas and wheat but leaving safflower and sunflower, they might be detecting oxidation in the oil seeds that you're not smelling yet. Sudden decrease in appetite when nothing else has changed can indicate feed quality problem. Now let me teach you the smell test that should be done every time before feeding. This takes 10 seconds and can prevent chronic poisoning. Grab a handful of feed from your storage container. Hold it to your nose. Smell deeply. What do you smell? Fresh grain should smell clean, slightly sweet, pleasant. If you smell anything musty, stale, chemical, paint-like, sour, or just off, the feed is oxidized. Don't feed it. Discard it completely. 4 more sensitive test. Take a few sunflower or hemp seeds. Crack them open. Crush them between your fingers. Smell the oil directly. Fresh oil smells nutty and pleasant. Oxidized oil smells paint-like or varnish-like. Rancid oil smells unpleasant and sour. This test is more sensitive than smelling whole seeds because you're exposing the oils directly. If crushed seed oil smells bad, all the feed from that batch is suspect. Do this smell test every time you feed. Doesn't matter if the feed was fine yesterday. Check today. Oxidation accelerates once it starts. Feed that passed smell test last week might fail today. 10 seconds of checking prevents days or weeks of feeding toxic rancid feed that damages your birds. Let me address the question of storage to minimize oxidation. Even with fresh feed, improper storage accelerates degradation. Correct storage preserves quality as long as possible. Rule 1: Sealed containers. Never store feed in open bins or bags that allow air circulation. Use containers with tight lids that create seal. Air exposure is primary cause of oxidation. Minimize it. Rule 2: Cool storage. Heat accelerates oxidation dramatically. Feed stored at 30 degrees Celsius oxidizes 3 to 4 times faster than feed stored at 15 degrees. Store feed in coolest location available. Basement is better than garage in summer. Shed with insulation is better than metal shed in direct sun. Never store feed where temperatures exceed 25 degrees regularly. Rule 3: Dark storage. Light accelerates oxidation, especially in seeds with light-sensitive vitamins. Store feed in opaque containers or in dark location. Clear plastic bins in bright rooms accelerate degradation. Metal bins or dark plastic bins preserve quality better. Rule 4: Minimal headspace. When transferring feed to storage container, fill container as full as possible to minimize air space above the feed. Large air gap means more oxygen available for oxidation. Less air gap means slower oxidation. Rule 5: Small container rotation. Instead of one large container holding all your feed, use multiple smaller containers. Fill one, use it completely, then open next one. This keeps most of your feed sealed while only one container is exposed to air during active use. As you empty each container, you're using the oldest feed first and keeping newer feed protected. But storage optimization only helps if you're starting with fresh feed and using it relatively quickly. No amount of perfect storage prevents oxidation if feed sits for 6 months. The solution is buying appropriate quantities based on consumption rate. Calculate how much feed your birds consume per week. Buy no more than 4 weeks' supply at one time. Preferably buy 2 weeks' supply if convenient. Use it completely before buying next batch. I know the objection. Buying small quantities frequently is more expensive and less convenient than buying large bag once or twice a year. Let me address this. First, the price difference isn't as large as you think. Yes, per kilogram cost is higher for small bags. But you're not wasting feed by discarding rancid portions. You're not losing birds to health problems from toxic feed. You're not spending money on supplements trying to compensate for poor base nutrition. Total cost accounting favors fresh feed in small quantities. Second, convenience is matter of habit. Once you establish routine of weekly or bi-weekly feed purchase, it's not burdensome. Combine it with other errands. Many fanciers visit their club or friends' lofts weekly. Pick up feed then. Or find supplier who delivers small quantities. European fanciers manage this without difficulty. Americans can too if they prioritize bird health over convenience. Third, some suppliers offer subscription services. Order 2 weeks supply, it arrives automatically. You never have to remember or make special trip. This is becoming more common. If your current supplier doesn't offer it, ask. If enough customers request it, suppliers adapt. Or find supplier who already offers this service. Let me compare American versus European feed purchasing patterns based on what I've observed directly. Average American fancier buys feed 3 to 4 times per year. 50-pound bags or larger. Stores in large bin. Uses over 3 to 6 months. By the time last portion of bag is fed, it's 4 to 8 months old. This feed is severely oxidized. Average European championship fancier buys feed every 1 to 2 weeks. 5 to 15 kilogram quantities. Stores in container size to hold exactly that amount. Uses within 10 to 14 days. Buys fresh batch. Feed is never more than 3 weeks old from processing to consumption. The performance difference is obvious when you visit these lofts. European birds have shine to their feathers that American birds often lack. The feather quality comes from fresh oils providing proper nutrition. American birds fed old rancid feed have duller feathers because degraded oils don't support proper feather development. European birds maintain high energy throughout racing season. American birds often show mid-season decline partially from cumulative oxidative stress from rancid feed. European birds have stronger immune function with fewer health crises. American birds have higher disease rates partially from liver damage and oxidative stress impairing immunity. None of this is genetic. Put American birds on European feeding protocols and their health improves within weeks. Put European birds on American feeding protocols and their health declines. I've seen this repeatedly. It's not the birds. It's the feed management. Now let me address specific seed types and their oxidation vulnerability. Sunflower seeds are highly vulnerable. High oil content, thin shell, oxidizes rapidly. Fresh sunflower is fine. Sunflower older than 4 weeks is questionable. Older than 8 weeks is probably toxic. Check sunflower first when evaluating feed quality. Safflower is moderately vulnerable. Lower oil than sunflower, thicker shell, more stable. Fresh safflower stays good for 6 to 8 weeks if stored well. But still degrades. Don't assume safety beyond 2 months.